The brain is the most complex organ in our body. It is a complicated machine filled with specific and separate functions and tons of small, barely noticeable intricacies that have a massive impact on our body. So what are some of these functions and how do they work?
Before we talk about the specific functions of the brain, we must look at how the brain is structured. The brain is not one whole that controls everything, but is actually two separate wholes, each with specific functions that are glued together to allow for communication between them.
The right side of the brain is called the right hemisphere. The right hemisphere focuses on artistry, creativity, and emotions. All of your artistic expressions and musical abilities came from this hemisphere, so its importance is undeniable.
This left side of the brain is called the left hemisphere. It tackles analysis, problem solving, and language. Your ability to solve complex mathematical problems that require a lot of deep thinking and intelligence comes from this hemisphere of the brain, including your ability to access certain situations and think of plans and possible solutions to an issue or problem in life. The bridge or the glue between your two hemispheres is called the corpus callosum. It is very important as it allows communication between your two hemispheres. Now, interestingly enough, when it comes to movement, your right hemisphere controls the left side of your body and your left hemisphere controls the right side of your body. This odd behavior is actually caused by the corpus callosum. This should show you how important communication between the hemispheres really is.
The main parts of the brain that are included in motor skills are the frontal lobe and the cerebellum. The frontal lobe is actually responsible for a lot of different things that we will be talking about in the short documentary, but this is one of the more essential ones. This large portion of the brain is the frontal lobe. It is responsible for voluntary movements. This is extremely important to life in general. Being able to move is one of the universal things shared between the brains of every animal. Damage to the frontal lobe can cause severe paralysis, which is the inability to make voluntary movements in the body. Now, this portion of the brain is called the cerebellum. The cerebellum has several uses, but one of its more overlooked functions is the fine-tuning of movement. It is responsible for fine motor movements, balance, and the brain's ability to determine limb position. Let's say you're training very hard to master a specific skill that requires a lot of coordination, like learning an instrument. Practicing your instrument for long sessions develops circuitry in the cerebellum that retains repetitive motor activity. The two main areas of the brain that are included in speech production and comprehension are Broca's area and Wernicke's area. Both of these areas are located in the left hemisphere, which, if you recall, focuses on language and analysis. This highlighted section is your Broca's area. The Broca's area primarily focuses on speech output, that is your ability to plan and form sentences. Broca's area works with your cerebellum and frontal lobe to give you the ability to move your mouth and pronounce words and phrases. Interestingly, damage to the Broca's area leaves you unable to produce any words. You are still able to think perfectly fine, but you won't be able to translate mental images into words and sentences. This area right here is a Wernicke's area. Wernicke's area primarily focuses on speech comprehension, which is your ability to understand and comprehend spoken language. When you hear a sentence, stimulus and information from your auditory cortex, which is responsible for your sense of hearing, gets passed to your Wernicke's area so you can understand the sentence. Then, it gets passed to your Broca's area where you plan your speech accordingly. Lastly, it gets passed to your motor cortex, which is located in your frontal lobe to be able to speak a response back. Now, let's do a quick rundown of all of the different areas and parts of the brain. The occipital lobe sits at the back of the head and is responsible for visual perception, including color, form, and motion. The temporal lobe is behind the ears and is the second largest lobe. It is the most commonly associated with processing auditory information with the encoding of memory. The parietal lobe is responsible for receiving and processing sensory input such as touch, pressure, heat, cold, and pain. Your thalamus is your body's information relay station. All information from your body's senses except smell must be processed through your thalamus before being sent over to your brain's cerebral cortex for interpretation. The hypothalamus is a structure deep in your brain and acts as your body's control coordinating center. Its main function is to keep your body in a stable state of homeostasis. Your amygdala is a small almond-shaped structure inside of your brain. The main job of the amygdala is to regulate emotions such as fear and aggression. Your hippocampus is a complex brain structure embedded deep in the temporal lobe and has a major role in learning and memory. The spinal cord sends motor commands from the brain to the body, and sends sensory information from the body to the brain, and coordinates reflexes. Your pituitary gland acts as your body's master gland. It tells other glands in your body what to do. The medulla is where the brain and spinal cord connect, making it a key conduit for nerve signals to and from your body. It also helps control vital processes like your heartbeat, blood pressure, and breathing. Your brainstem sends signals from your brain to the rest of your body. It controls many subconscious body functions like breathing and maintaining your heart rate. The limbic system is a part of the brain involved in behavioral and emotional responses, especially when it comes to behaviors needed for survival, like feeding, reproduction, and caring for our young, and fight or flight responses. So, thank you for listening to my short little documentary of the brain. I hope you found this informative. Make sure to click that non-existent like button down below and subscribe to my non-existent channel. Now, with that out of the way, roll the credits!